guy just, turned 16 over summer. He's got a deep voice now. He used to talk like this before summer. And then he came back to school and he talks like this. What's happened? He's got a frequency range that's developed, and then he's got mids. Your ears are particularly sensitive to 1,250 wave is doing a full cycle 10,000 times per second. That's what makes the pitch go up and what it sounds like in your ears. When it's really low and it's 10 cycles per second, okay, that's what makes it sound low to your ears and mine. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So when this gets messed up, you're gonna find it very difficult to get good sound. So you really gotta pay attention to this. If someone has a really high-pitched voice, then you don't wanna take this high end and go, because then they're gonna sound like they just, down some helium. Okay, and that's not gonna be good. The worship's gonna be ruined. People's lives are gonna be destroyed. And it's all because we turned the EQ up too high, right? I'm kidding, right? Very good. You guys are not quite awake. All right, then mids. What are mids? Mids are like the range you're hearing right now. And then lows are really, really, really low. Okay? Does that make sense? And so same thing with the bass. If you got a bass guitar, you don't want to crank up the low end because it already produces a low frequency anyway. All right, does that make sense? You want to use these tools to make things sound as natural as possible. So if you're really into it, you can listen to someone sing without the microphone, and then try and reproduce that in the system. And that's really what you're going for. You want to make that person sound like what they sound like. Okay? You don't want them to sound distorted. Right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
When you hear a sound and it's harsh, it feels harsh and it's almost ringy and shrill. Is that usually because the highs are up too high and the gain's up too much?
Yeah, those two things.
Is that the first thing you look for?
You can turn things up really loud if you have good EQ. If you've really balanced the room, and this room has certain, like just the angle of this space changes what certain frequencies will be louder in this room and space than just pass through this wall. Because the room effects, and they call them bass traps. Sometimes like with a balcony, you'll stand underneath a balcony at a concert and all you'll hear is the why? Because that's trapping the low end. It's not getting any of the mid or high frequencies. So there's a lot of elements that can screw this up that are outside of your control. So they've given this to you as a way to help you offset those things you can't control, like where you're having the band play. Does that make sense? So these will help you guys. They're really helpful tools. Okay, then you have pan. What is that? This is kind of funny. This is pan, but these little knobs are actually called pots. Okay, so pan and pots. It's kind of funny.
You're amazing today.
For old people.
You're on a roll.
Okay, pan. Pan is I can decide what? Direction of?
The sound.
The sound, exactly. So I have a left speaker and a right speaker. Is that your left or my left? Your left, right? Your left speaker and right speaker. And then I can take that channel, and what channel are we dealing with right now? One. I can take channel 1, which is that girl who sings really, really loud. Okay? And I'm kind of upset with someone over on the right side of the auditorium. So I'm just going to take that person and just jack her all the way over to the right side so that person has to hear her the whole time. I would never do anything like that. I'm just saying that that's something you could do. And so you can take this, move it over to the right or to the left and balance the sound out. You don't want everybody coming down the center. Why? Because it bottlenecks the sound. Your ears are meant to hear in stereo. So you want certain sounds coming to the left, certain sounds coming to the right, and when it's all balanced, right, man, it sounds awesome, right? That's why we love surround sound, because our ears hear it, and when you hear what you see, you really feel like you're a part of it. You're experiencing it, and that's kind of what you want to do with everybody. So I'll take the electric guitar and pan them a little bit to the left. I'll take the bass guitar, and I want both sides to hear them equally, so I keep them in the center. I'll take the acoustic guitar and pan them a little bit to the right. Take the keyboard, pan her a little bit to the left. Does that make sense? So you can get really creative and make a nice full sound, which is really, really helpful. Okay, then finally we have the fader. And what does the fader do?
Controls volume.
Controls volume. It does not control the what?
Sound.
2 V words. Voltage. What controls the voltage?
Thing at the top.
What was that thing at the top? Come on,
The
come on, come on.
line.
Has two names or
Come on.
three.
Almost. No. It's a pot that you.
Input.
No.
Oh.
It's a pot.
It's not the thing at the very top.
What is it?
It's
The gain. Very good. She's on fire today. The gain. What else do we call it? The trim or the preamplifier. Okay. All right. This is all being retained right now. I know. Okay.
It's
A lot of
going deep
information.
down.
Okay,
Deep
so
down.
you got the volume, which is controlled by the fader, and then you have the trim pot, which controls the voltage. Which one is more important when it comes to hearing the sound?
Trim.
Huh?
Trim.
Okay. Why do you say trim?
Because, I guess if you have no volume, there's nothing to trim.
No, you're right. It's the trim. But why would you say trim?
Well,
You can't turn up something that has no voltage,
yeah.
right? There's no electricity going through there. There's no way to amplify something that isn't even on, right? So the voltage has to be set right, and then you can do the volume. Very good. You guys are getting it. Okay, then we have this button. That's easy. What is that? Mute. That's for all the divas, right? Just lock it down, all right? All right, and then what do we have here? Assign sound to groups, and then you have 1-2, 3-4, and this is where it kind of gets tricky. If you look back in your the pan, you see this left side. Hold on, right here. This left side and right side. Here's how it works. If I push 1 to 2, hand it to the left, it's gonna go to a subgroup, another fader. It will be assigned to another fader called a bus. And then it will go to 1. If I turn it to the right and I have this button pushed, guess where it'll go? Okay, let me see.
Home.
Huh?
Home.
Not home. No. I push this 1 and 2 and I turn this to the left. That means it's going to go to 1. Because when I dial it to the left, it goes to the 1 number. If I dial it to the right, where's it going to go? 2. So this button has 2 functions, and it's in tandem with the pan. So if I push 3 and 4 and I turn this to the right, which one is it going to? 4. You got it? Yeah. All right. Very good. Very bright. All right. Here we go. Okay. And then solo, PFL. How do you know if your voltage is too hot or too low? What does the voltage have to do with? No, the voltage. Remember?
It's the gain.
The gain, the trim, the preamp. How do I know if it's too hot or not enough? I push this little solo button, and it will tell me what the voltage is. Okay, and you're gonna see all this eventually. Okay, and then we're gonna go through basically the whole general idea one more time, and I'm gonna see how much you guys remember. Okay, what do these guys do?
Line inputs.
They're inputs. Very good. And what kind are they?
Line.
1/4 inch is one, or line. And what's the other one? Mic. Mic input, line, or 1/4 inch input. Make sense? Okay. What's this?
Controls voltage.
Controls the voltage. Very good. What's this? Auxiliary. That's right. That's right. And what potential groups might need speakers on stage? Band and singers. That's right. What about this?
This will give echo and reverb.
Echo and reverb. Right? Okay. Very good. What about these guys?
They're the equalizers.
And what do they do?
They change the sound a little bit so it's nice to hear.
Okay.
Pitch and tone, yeah.
They change the tone and pitch. Exactly. What'd you say? They equal out the sound. Exactly. You guys got it. All right. And then this.
It turns it surround sound, like, yeah. Yeah.
Close.
Which speaker is coming out? One on the left or one on the right?
That's right. That's right. It gives you the ability to direct the what?
Sound.
The sound. That's right. And what about this guy?
Volume,
Volume. Very good. And volume's not to be confused with what?
voltage.
Voltage. That's right. Voltage and volume are different. Okay. This is a. You know who to use this for? The
Reverb
divas.
sound.
That's right. We're just gonna call it the diva button. All right. Okay. And then here we go. What's this?
Mixed groups.
Mixed groups, that's right. And then how does this work?
If you have 1 and 2 pressed, then you go to the left on the
Pan.
On the pan?
Then it does 1 on the right is 2. Then you press 3 and 4, and it'll do the third one, the fourth one, and the left one.
That's right. And if you have them both pushed, they'll go to all of it. Okay? But you typically don't do that. You're wanting to organize it. So this is really the last one. What is this?
It
Measures the voltage.
Measures the voltage. All right, you guys got it. Okay, now over to the output side. Okay, you put everything in, but now you got to send it somewhere. Okay, so we're gonna go through that real quick. We have another set of 1/4 inch, but they're saying out, not in. So they are functioning as a what?
output.
Output. Same thing here. You don't have 3 holes this time. You have 3 pins. What does that mean?
Is it? It's out.
Yeah, you're sending the sound somewhere. You're not receiving it.
Yeah.
Okay, the inputs receive it. These are sending the sound. Okay, and these can be 1/4 inch or mic jacks or XLRs. Okay. Let's look at this. Left and right, left and right. What does that mean?
Which speakers you're sending it to?
Yeah, you want to make sure that these outputs are correctly connected to the same correlating what?
Speaker.
Speaker. It's confusing if you're panning it to the right and it's coming over to the left. What have you done wrong? We've just probably got to change these chords so that they're properly sending the signal. Okay, what is this? Aux send. You've heard of aux before. What's the aux send? This is where you decide, is one going to be for this? Go ahead.
Does it send like the auxiliary?
Yeah, exactly. You got it. It sends the auxiliary to the singers or to the
Instrument.
band, right? The instruments, right? So aux send. This is the master aux send. So I'm running one cable over to my monitors. Monitor 1, which is going to be my singers, let's say, and then I'm running this cable from aux 2 over to the monitor that's being used for the band. That way both groups hear what they want to hear. Okay? And then this is a master send for auxes. What does that mean?
Sends it to all.
This is a what? What is this called? A pot. This is a volume control. They don't have a fader, but this is the function. It's just to control the volume of that auxiliary, right? So if I had this turned down and have my auxes on the input side turned all the way up, and I've ran my cable to the right monitors, but I have this turned down, what's going to happen? Nothing. You'll hear nothing, okay? It's a big nada. So you got to have these turned up, and usually you don't have to crank them all the way up. Usually they just require some minor adjustments. Okay, and then effects, same thing here. If you have this turned down on the output side, it trumps the input side. Does that make sense? So it'll just squash it. You won't be able to hear the effect. Both these have to be turned up. Yeah.
Is that the equivalent to the red fader? That's the master of all.
Yeah.
So it's equivalent, but it just has to do with aux.
Yep.
stuff.
Exactly. All right, and then let's go over here. Tape output. If you wanted to record, we don't do cassette tapes anymore, but this is just a way of saying if you want to record something, you could take it, plug it into your iPhone, and record the chapel, or whatever you guys are doing. All right, this is an equalizer too, but it's called a graphic equalizer. What does that mean? I have the pot that I just turned based on a frequency, but this breaks it down. Look at this. It says 63 or 43. I can't read it. 125, 250, 500, 1K, 2K. What are these?
Would they be amps?
No. You got low ones, mid ones, 16K high pitch, and what do we call that in a technical term? Starts with an F. Frequency. Remember the cycles per second? Okay, that's another way of adjusting this for the whole system. You can adjust it for the individual singer, right, through the knobs, but then they give you this to adjust it for the whole system. You make a change here, everyone's going to feel the effect. You make a change in their personal microphone, only that person using it will feel the effect. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is big sweeping changes. You don't want to mess with this too much. You want it to be simple, all right? Be nice and clear. Usually the less EQ you use, the better. Okay, and we can get into it a little bit. Here's the range. So if you're hearing some feedback in your system, which is pretty normal, you can go to these little knobs, dial it down, and get rid of that feedback and be able to turn up the whole system and it still sounds good.
Do you
That's
guys
the
know what
advantage.
feedback is?
And you hear that, that real squelching, squeaky sound? You know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay, so this helps you reduce some of that. Okay, but if you just go, oh, we'll just turn it all down, then it's going to come out sounding garbled. All right, it's not going to sound really clear and good. Okay, and then we have the effects settings. What is this? This is all the different effects that they offer us. This mixer has a built-in effects processor. So I have delay 1, delay 2, delay 3, delay 4, chorus, range, phase, spring, and all these are little effects that they have programmed into the mixer that I can use to help make a sound processed, help process sound. Does that make sense? I just dial this knob in, and then I make sure I have all my effects settings up, and then it goes from there. Okay. And then finally, this is what we were talking about with, remember pushing 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and then turning the pan? This is where that all goes. So if I push 1, 2, and dial it to the right, where's it going to appear? Which subgroup?
Sub 2.
Sub 2. If I do 3 and 4, dial it to the left, where's it going?
4.
3.
3. Left is always odd, and right is always even, actually. It's a way they've tried to make it simple to remember. And then look here. I can assign now where I want this fader to go. Do I want it to go to the left? Do I want it to go to the right? And then I turn this up. Now here's what's cool. Let's say a drum kit. A drummer has 4 or 5 different microphones on his drum. He's got the kick, he's got the snare, the overheads, the hi-hat. And you don't want to have to control 5 microphones at the same time. Once you get him right and the sound right, you can send all his 5 input, that's over here, the input channels of his drum kit over to subgroup 3. And with one fader, I can control all 5 of those microphones. Does that make sense? So think of it like a bus. You get 40 people on a bus. They're all going to where you want them to go in one vehicle. It's the same thing with this. Put all these microphones, all these different things on this group. So I could take all the singers and put them all on one fader, and it would control them all.
How do you get it there?
The singers?
How do you assign it?
Yeah, how do we assign them?
You push the
Let's say I got singers on microphones 8, 9, 10, and 11. What do I have to do there?
you push the button and then use the dial.
What button?
The mixer.
What's that?
The mixer.
What button on the mixer? It's this, it's gonna say this, assign. I have to assign this guy to go somewhere. Okay, keep going.
You have to do that, then turn the, I forget what's called, the knob, and then choose which one you want, which group you want to get, put it on.
Alright, let's say I want 8, 9, 10, 11 on subgroup 3. How do I do that?
You
Take
press
me
the
through
button-
channel 8.
You press the assign button, and then turn it left. The 3 and 4 assign button. Okay, and then turn it left.
Very good. Very good. And
Nice.
then what happens if this is down and these faders are all the way up, but they've been assigned to subgroup 3? What if the singer's microphones, 8, 9, 10, 11, are all the way up, but this subgroup 3 fader is down after being assigned to subgroup 3? What will happen?
There'll be no sound.
Why will there be no sound?
This is no output.
That's right. This group trumps the inputs. You're on the output side of the mixer. This is where all the power really lies. Okay, the input side is potential, but until you make the call here, nobody's hearing nothing. Does that make sense? Okay, so you really got to pay attention to this spot. All right, and then finally we have the stereo main mix, and the reason it's stereo is even though it's one fader, I'm sending it to both the what? Both speakers, both left and right speakers. Does that make sense? And when I'm doing these faders, I want my faders to kind of land around this little mark that says U. It stands for unity. So I want all my faders to kind of be in that area. If you can only turn your fader up this high before it starts making your ears bleed, and there's a problem. What do we have to turn down?
Voltage.
Voltage. Turn down the voltage, bring up the volume. Okay? If I have to bring this fader way past the unity mark, all the way up to the top, and it's still not loud enough, what do I have to do?
Turn up the voltage.
Turn up the voltage, that's right. And then bring that down. Does that make sense? Girls, got it? Okay, cool.
They're not loud at all. Somebody hear something?
It's an acting class. It's gotta
Okay.
be done.
What do you think?
Good
Got
job.
it?
Yeah,
It's
that
all
was
in there? It's
awesome.
locked in? Okay, you wanna do a pop quiz?
Now.
Yay!
We won't do that. Alright, what should we do next? What would you like to do?
Would you like to take them? There's a board over there that you could go around and ask them questions on
Let's
the
do it.
physical board.
Yeah.
But we can't be loud because we're